Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you've touched AI video generation at any point in the last year, you already know the landscape moves fast. Like genuinely faster than almost any other corner of AI right now. A model that was the best 6 months ago is sitting in third or fourth place today. So in this video, I'm breaking down the 5 AI video models you actually need to know about right now. Mid 2026, not a random top 10 padded with tools nobody uses. 5 models. What each one is actually good at, what it's bad at, what it costs, and which one I tell you to start with depending on what you're making. Quick heads up before we jump in. Pricing and rankings on these platforms shift constantly. So if you're watching this a few months down the line, do a quick gut check search before you commit your credits. But as of right now, here's the list. Let's get into it. Starting at number 5, Runway Gen 4.5. Now, Runway used to be the name in this space. Back when AI video was mostly a novelty, Runway was the tool serious filmmakers and VFX people were actually using, and Gen 4.5 keeps that reputation alive, even though the model itself has been passed on the pure quality leaderboards by some of the names coming up later in this list. Here's why it's still here at number 5 and not further down. Control. Runway's whole philosophy is giving you granular, almost editorial level control over your shot. You've got advanced camera controls, real pan, tilt, zoom behavior that actually respects a cinematic logic. You've got the multi-motion brush, which lets you literally paint which parts of an image should move and how. And you can train the model on your own footage or style. So if you're building something with brand consistency across dozens of videos, that's a genuinely unique advantage. There's also a newer feature called LF, which doesn't generate from scratch. It takes footage you already shot and transforms it with a text prompt. So you're not stuck choosing between real footage or AI footage. You can blend them. The trade-off? Gen 4.5 isn't winning the raw realism fights anymore. In blind side-by-side tests, it still holds its own, but on pure physics and motion quality, a couple of the models below it in this list edge it out. Pricing starts around $12 a month, which is genuinely accessible if you just want to dip a toe in. Bottom line, Runway Gen 4.5 is your pick if you're a filmmaker or editor who wants to actually direct the shot, not just describe it and hope. Number 4, Luma's Ray 3.14. This one's a little more niche, and if you're just making social content, you might not need it. But if you're doing anything that ends up in a professional color pipeline, commercials, anything headed to a colorist, anything that needs to sit next to real cinema footage, this is the one to know. Ray 3.14 was the first AI video model to generate native 16-bit HDR, and it exports straight to EXR format. If that sounds like technical jargon, here's the plain version. Most AI video tools give you a flattened, already baked in image. Ray 3 gives you actual dynamic range data you can grade afterward, the same way you'd grade footage from a real camera. That's a big deal for anyone doing commercial or cinematic work where color consistency across a whole project matters. Beyond the HDR story, Ray 3 is also known for its atmosphere, moody lighting, environmental depth, that cinematic mood that's hard to describe but easy to spot. If you're making something environment heavy, think fashion films, moody B roll, concept trailers, Ray 3 tends to nail the vibe other models miss. Where it falls short, it's not the fastest and it's not the cheapest option on this list. And if you need dialogue heavy content with lip sync, this isn't the strongest choice. So, Ray 3.14, best for cinematic mood and color accurate professional pipelines, not your go to for quick social clips. Number 3, and this is where things get serious, Kling 3.0. Kling dropped in February 2026 and it was immediately being called one of the biggest leaps of the year. It's built on what its maker calls an Omni-1 architecture, using joint spacetime attention and chain of thought reasoning to actually simulate physics, gravity, collisions, balance, inertia, instead of just approximating motion from patterns. In practice, that means Kling handles complex physical interactions better than almost anything else out there. Things falling, fabric moving, characters colliding with their environment. It just looks more physically real. Specs wise, Kling 3.0 can hit native 4K at 60 frames per second, generate clips up to about 15 seconds long in a single pass. And it supports multilingual lip sync across several major languages with precise control over who's speaking and when. There's also a multi-shot storyboard mode that can string together up to 6 connected scenes with proper camera direction. So you're not stuck making isolated 10-second clips. You can actually build a small sequence. It's also genuinely fast when you need it to be. There's a draft mode that generates up to 20 times quicker, which is great for prototyping before you commit to a full quality render. Where does it lose points against the top two? It can occasionally feel a little less literal and interpretive compared to some of the newer commercial focused models. But honestly, for stylized, dramatic, cinematic output, that unpredictability is often a feature, not a bug. Pricing is accessible too. There's a free tier for casual use, plus paid plans that scale up. Kling 3.0. Best pick if you want cinematic drama, physics accurate motion, and multi shot storytelling in one model. Number two, and for a lot of teams doing commercial work right now, this is actually the number one pick. ByteDance's Seedance 2.0. Seedance launched in February 2026, and it basically redefined what balance means in this category. It's not necessarily the single most jaw dropping model on any one metric, but it might have the best combination of prompt adherence, motion quality, character consistency, and price of anything on the market right now. What makes it stand out technically is the input format. Per generation, Seedance can take in up to 9 reference images, 3 video clips, and 3 audio files, all alongside your text prompt. That's the most flexible input setup of any model right now. Practically, that means if you're running a campaign with the same spokesperson across 20 different ad variations, Seedance keeps that person looking consistent shot after shot, which is exactly what commercial and e-commerce teams need. It's not about generating one gorgeous, surprising frame. It's about reliability at scale. It also does native audio, dialogue, sound effects, ambient noise, all generated in the same pass as the video, with output up to 15 seconds and multi-shot sequencing that threads scenes together naturally. The physics engine underneath is genuinely strong too. Fabric movement, collisions, high action sequences. Seedance renders human motion in a way that reads as unusually natural compared to a lot of competitors. Now, worth flagging, Seedance actually went a little viral early on for generating uncomfortably realistic clips of real celebrities, which raised some obvious copyright and likeness questions. Worth keeping in mind if you're using any model like this for public-facing commercial work. Always check what you're actually allowed to generate and publish. On pricing, Seedance is also one of the most cost-efficient options at the higher end of quality. The fast tier runs somewhere around 2 cents per second, which is genuinely cheap for production-grade output. Access has mostly been through apps like Tubao, CapCut, Dramina, and a few aggregator platforms, rather than one clean global API, so availability can depend a bit on your region. If you're building commercial content, ads, product videos, anything where you need the same character or product to look consistent across a lot of variations, Seedance 2.0 is very hard to beat right now. And that brings us to number one, Google's Veo 3.1. If you only remember one model from this entire video, make it this one. Across almost every best overall list right now, Veo 3.1 is the safe, no regrets answer if you just want one model that does almost everything well. The single biggest differentiator, Veo 3.1 is currently the only major model generating true 48 kHz synchronized dialogue, not just ambient sound effects. If your project involves actual spoken lines, narration, or characters talking to each other, Veo's lip sync and audio video timing is genuinely a level above the competition. It also just handles motion and physics beautifully. Natural camera movement, believable object interaction, and strong prompt adherence, meaning what you type is what you tend to get, without a lot of surprising deviation. There's a feature called ingredients to video, where you feed in up to 3 reference images to ground the model in specific characters or objects, which keeps things consistent across a project without needing an entirely separate tool. Google offers it through light, fast, and quality tiers, so you can dial cost versus fidelity depending on the job. Quick social content versus a hero commercial piece. Pricing scales from a consumer subscription around $20 a month up to a professional ultra tier, plus direct API access if you're building it into your own product or pipeline. The honest downside, premium tiers get expensive fast if you're generating a high volume of clips, and detailed prompts take some practice to get exactly right. But in terms of raw trust, if someone asked me, just tell me one model to start with, no questions asked. Veo 3.1 is that answer. Alright, let's recap real quick. Number 5, Runway Gen 4.5. Best for hands-on creative control and editorial style direction. Number 4, Luma Ray 3.14. best for cinematic mood and true HDR color pipelines. Number 3, Kling 3.0, best for physics accurate motion and multi shot cinematic storytelling. Number 2, Seedance 2.0, best for commercial work, consistency at scale, and price to quality ratio. And number 1, VO 3.1, the best overall all arounder, especially if dialogue and narration matter to your project. Here's the real takeaway though, there is no single best model anymore. There's a best model per job. So figure out what you're actually making first, then pick from this list. If this helped you cut through the noise, drop a like, subscribe if you're new here, and let me know in the comments which model you're currently using. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next video.